How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 163, Black Will. And the cover page for this chapter has Jenny and Mira on it, and they're swimming together, and it's just super nice to know that they're still being friends. Wouldn't surprise me if this is like a modeling shoot that the two are on together, or if this is just them being friends and they're just deciding to go swimming in the ocean together. Overall, I think a really cute cover. It's just super nice to see those two together once again. We pick up the chapter with a black wizard version of Ferris showing up, and Natsu is pretty dang excited that it's Ferris, and he thinks it's still the regular version of Ferris. And Natsu's immediate thought is that this is the Edalus version of Ferris, and Ferris just straight up says there's many versions of people throughout multiple universes, with them all containing versions of the same people. And she acknowledges the other versions of Ferris, and she is the Earthland version of Ferris, which I said last chapter, I'm pretty sure she's probably the Earthland version. Kind of a fun note that you get to see what the Edalus version of Ferris is, and then obviously our regular version of Ferris. And Ignia just straight up does not care, because he's like, cool, I don't want you here, get out of here, you're saying you're a black wizard, Zeref's dead, Acnologia is dead too. Which, as they're talking about Acnologia, Natsu points out like, hey, now that you mention it, you kind of feel like Acnologia in some way. Which Faris just says that she is a black wizard and a black dragon, and she's pushed Ignia to his limit because he's like, hey, you're interesting, but I'm in the middle of talking to Natsu right now, and he just starts to get ready to do a flame attack, which I kind of love that Natsu's like, oh, you actually were talking to me? Like, I didn't realize it. Kind of interesting that Ferris says that you're scared of Acnologia, aren't you? The two end up clashing, which, gosh dang, they have a lot of magic power behind those attacks. Like, that is quite the bloom of magic power. And when the dust settles, Ferris has the arm of Acnologia. And Natsu's just like, that arm, how the flip did you get that arm? I absolutely love the way that she has this arm, because during Tartaros, Ignia ripped off one of Acnologia's arms that obviously fell to the ground and was just left there. Turns out she was the one to go find that arm, and she absorbed its power, quite literally becoming a 5th gen Dragon Slayer then. She straight up takes up the mantle of Acnologia, because she's like, I am Acnologia's will embodied, and I will destroy everything. Kind of interesting that he has the Signaro sisters just light up the fire god's castle, and they're just completely surrounded in flames. I suppose maybe Ignia just wants to keep everyone out, and they're just like locked in there to figure things out. But in all actuality, it probably has a purpose for what happens at the end of this chapter, but I'm not getting there yet. And this could be a very interesting turn of events depending on how this plays out, because Ignia talks about the 100-year quest and how no one has been able to defeat the dragon gods, but Natsu has happened to seal away 4 of them, and it seems impossible that they would be able to do that because no one has been able to. But Ignia straight up points out that they were only able to do it because they'd never really fought any of the dragons for real. That has been a valid point, because pretty much every dragon god they fought has been handicapped in some way to where they weren't fighting at their full power, allowing them to defeat them. And apparently this is all part of Ignia's plan, because he says it was all for this day, and he activates a spell called Dragonization Magic, which has you cut over to Diablos, and Silene starts glowing. And then you go back to the town where the water dragon god was, and he also turns into a dragon. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. If this is like big brain plays by Ignia to where everyone was defeated very easily, and then he brings them all back in some way to have them be at full power, that's going to be quite the headache for Team Natsu, just because, oh my goodness, they were in most cases barely able to defeat these guys, and now if they're at full power, and also we don't know if like Ignia is able to control them or if they still have their own free will. I would say since it's forcing them to be turned into dragons, I'm going to say it's going to maybe have them be like wild beasts practically. It only showed 2 of the dragons, but I wonder if there's going to be the rest of them are somehow involved in this with their powers as well. Literally, I love that Ferris has Acnologia's arm, and I love that that's a detail that easily could have been forgotten about. Now we also have the 5th gen dragon slayers, that get their powers from eating dragons. So it very much makes sense that if someone ate that, they could literally have the powers of Acnologia. Very similar to almost Yakuto from Dead Rock with that arm. That could be a very difficult combination to beat if she has like the powers of Zareth and also the powers of Acnologia. She could be very difficult to take down. And especially if she is embodying the will of Acnologia, she's gonna not really have any mercy on anyone. I really enjoyed this chapter. I thought it had some very good twists and turns, and I just really like the callbacks that happened. So what are your guys' thoughts on the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Draco, signing out.